Hello. I have so many audio video things to work on, I don't know where to begin. So what I'll do, I think, is get some of the items on my bench, power some of them up so you can see what they do, and perhaps you can tell me what you'd like me to work on first. Right, here goes. Right, I've worked on a few of these in the past. SLC9, one of the most sought after Sony Beta video recorders. Comes with a remote, which is possibly a bit past its best, but cosmetically the machine looks nice. The front panel's all there. So let's just plug it in and see what it does. Plug it into isolation transformer, as I do. Okay, I've plugged it in, nothing happened, but there isn't a master power switch at the back. Yes, switch that on. The display is lit up very dimly. We already know what that is, don't we? Because we've worked on one of these before. That'll be the DC to DC converter. But there's something else wrong with the power supply because it's not switching on there. It's not because it's in timer mode, is it? Let's just check that. Oh, display bright dim. We can have it even dimmer. I've never noticed that before. There's a stereo indicator, which is crazy because how could this machine ever know when it's in stereo? That's interesting. Surely that would only be when it detects the German stereo signal, because NICAM didn't exist when this was built. So it's not powering up, and the lid looks a little wonky and loose. So we may have power supply problems. Let's try and power it up with a remote. Can't get this to even light up, so the remote's not working either. Let's try a known working remote then. Okay, this remote does work. And we can't power it up with that either. I'm not going to put a tape in because if it does accept it, it probably won't give it back again. So Sony SLC9 needs work. Well, while we're on beta, we have Sanyo VTC5000, complete with user manual. Oh, the user manual is for the 6500. Let's plug this in. Powers up. I expected it would because Sanyos are pretty reliable electronically. Usually they have mechanical problems. Let's just pop a tape in, try fast forward. There was a moment's hesitation, but then it's fast forwarding. Rewind. Play. Seems to be playing, so there may be a picture problem. Shall we connect the monitor, see what we get? Okay, we're connected to the AV port. Let's see what we have. Oh! Tracking to one end, pretty good. The other end, that goes. Very slightly offset, as is normal. There seems to be some colour banding. A little bit of... I don't know if you can see that, but the colour's not quite perfect. You only get monochrome picture search on the VTC5000. It was the later 5150 that gave you colour picture search. Actually, I think that would give a perfectly acceptable viewing picture, but clearly on test card it's a little less than perfect. There's something wrong with vertical colour. Heads appear to be good. Could be a bit hard to fix a colour fault like that. If there is a fault at all, actually. Maybe just something to do with the way it's connected up and the tape that's used. So that looks like a reasonably good machine. There was a little bit of hesitation on rewind. But it's not terrible. Next. Another VTC5000. This is in awful condition. There's bits smashed off it. There's a chunk missing at the back. I don't even think I want to power that up. That one's going to be a spare parts bin, I think, but it might be a useful spare parts bin for the other machine if we do have a colour fault. And finally, you can't get enough of them, can you? Another VTC5000. Cosmetically, this one looks quite tidy. Let's power it up. It's got a tape in it already. Ah. It clearly has probably a idler issue because it's snagged up a tape there. Yep, clock's all nice. Lovely clear bright display on it. No wheel drive. Okay. Highly fixable, that one. So I've been given this Sony tape recorder. Now I have been warned off this model by an expert on tape recorders. Says this range is not worth fixing. It's a bit grubby. It's a 3-speed, so it goes down to 1 7/8, which my big ferrograph machine doesn't do, not without modification anyway. It can do some tricks here, left to right off or right to left. That's not every tape recorder could do that. You can play left or right or stereo speakers. All silicon transistors, so no germaniums in this one. 4-digit tape counter. One of the feet is missing, so it tends to be a bit unstable. So I'm sure this will have multiple faults, but let's power it up anyway. 1 VU meter lights. Let's put it into play. Nothing. Does it know there's no tape in it? Because the motors aren't running. Ah, there's a switch here that detects a tape, and that's you can hear the micro switch, but also that's very slow to fall back, so obviously needs lubricating. Let's try that now. Okay, there's a switch here, which is the tape sensor switch, and clearly the lubrication on it's gone because it's very slow to return, but hopefully if I move that up, the motors will kick in. Aha, I can hear something. Capstan running? No. So it has the sort of mechanical problems you'd expect. So model number is TC270. And the next is a studio monitor. So this isn't any old monitor. This comes with a control panel. So let's look at the monitor first. It's heavy and comes with what looks like a DVI connector and power, I think, on that one. Last tested in February 2019, so it's been in use not that long ago. So looking at the control panel that goes with it, well, at the front you can select volume, so presumably it has speakers, or these are the speakers. They may be the speakers there. You can choose various inputs, so composite, YC, RGB, component, some options, computer input, and then you can alter the aspect ratio, blue only, why? Mono, HV delay, not sure what those are. Some menus. And let's have a look at the back. Oh, so that's DC in that connector, so you can run it on DC or mains. So I suppose you're running it on field. This has got an option. What input option is it? Okay, so the option here is BKM243HS Digital HD SDI. So that's got SDI inputs for connecting to things like Digibeta, which is no surprise because it came with a Digibeta machine. What other options? That's the only option on this. The other option port is blank. The output there is display signal out, so that's only for that monitor. Ah yes, and that's for powering the monitor. Not sure what that connector is. It's not S-Video. It looks similar, but it's not. Parallel remote, so that's obviously some special remote. Computer in, so that would be RGB from an old-fashioned computer screen. Some audio inputs and outputs. And then all the inputs that we've been talking about, such as composite and YC and YUV and all that lot. So it's nice that this monitor can sit there and you can select all these input signals. That's going to be really useful. Now I understand that this thing is in good working order, so we'll have to give that a spin later. Next we have an N1502. So I've worked on these a number of times in the past. This one I know nothing about. There's tape stuck in it. Dare we power it up? Dare we power this up? Maybe the clock will work. Let's try that. Here goes. Oh, bit of activity from there. It's going like crazy in there, so that sounded like the loading motor was possibly spinning around and it wasn't succeeding in completing load or unload. And it comes with a rather unusual mains plug. It still has a battery backup for the clock. I wonder how old that is. I don't know how old it is, but it has gone a bit leaky. So it's been in there for a while. So that's the N1502. I can probably fix it provided the video heads are in good condition. If they're ruined, then that's the end of it because I don't really have any spare heads. Another item to work on is this HP 2605DN color laser printer. I actually have a scrap one of these as well for spare parts if needed. This one I've had for a few years, but it's done almost no service at all. It's only got about 100 and something pages been run on it ever. At the moment it's locking up when you send it print jobs. Very occasionally it'll work, but usually it crashes. So I suspect a power supply fault. I reckon we should have a good chance of fixing that. 2 Digital8 camcorders have come out of my studio when I was really busy and didn't have time to take a note of what the faults were. I believe one of these is dead and the other one I believe is damaging tapes. Typically it's a pinch roller failure. And also we have this power supply with a very broken looking plug. I don't think there's much we can do with that. So let's use a different power supply and try these two out. Well, that one seems to be working fine at the moment, but if it has a pinch roller issue, it could be an intermittent fault. So that one will require some more testing. So far so good though. Pinch rollers are a problem for these, they're very hard to obtain. So that's a TRV-320E. And here's a TRV-330E, I think it is, which is in many ways not such a good one because the tape doesn't go in from the top, it goes in sort of underneath, which is less convenient to use. Dead. Now that's quite unusual for these camcorders. I'm not used to these dying completely like that. So looking at the display, I'm swinging this switch through its 4 positions and the display is remaining completely off. And eject does nothing. Unusual problem. Then another item that I want to work on is a Fluke digital multimeter, and a viewer was very kind to send me the schematics, which I really need to solve what appears to be a power supply problem. So this 8375A multimeter is extremely old. It has a Nixie tube type display, so it's going to be a lovely piece of equipment to get working again if I can solve those problems. So please do remember to like, share and especially subscribe, and I'll do a lot more content on audio and video technology in the near future. Bye for now.